Welcome to Unfiltered Reflections. I'm your host, Passion, and today we embark on a journey into a concept that, while often relegated to the fringes of public discourse, resonates deeply within the core of our shared human experience. We're not merely dissecting a theory, we're exploring the intricate tapestry of trust, control, perception, and the unsettling questions that arise when our collective reality begins to feel less like a spontaneous unfolding and more like a meticulously choreographed performance. This is an inquiry into the enigma of drills, clubs, and gatekeepers, a profound reflection on our innate human desire to understand the forces that shape our lives, to feel a sense of agency, and to discern the genuine from the constructed in an increasingly complex world. At the heart of our contemplation lies the pervasive, often disquieting notion that significant global events, particularly those that shake our sense of stability, like public health crises, might bear an uncanny resemblance to elaborate simulations or drills rather than unforeseen calamities. This isn't a novel whisper, a fleeting thought born of recent anxieties. It's a recurring narrative that has echoed through the shadows of past epochs, from the murmurs surrounding H1N1 to the lingering questions following SARS. The very phrase, "it's just a drill," carries a chilling implication, that the fear we felt, the disruptions we endured, the very fabric of our daily lives, could, at times, have been part of a grander exercise, a controlled experiment in societal response. This unsettling possibility that what we perceive as reality might be carefully orchestrated sets the stage for an unraveling mystery, one that fundamentally challenges our understanding of truth, authority, and the very nature of the world we inhabit. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable idea that the stage upon which our lives play out might be set by unseen hands, prompting a profound reevaluation of our place within it. This intriguing, almost unsettling premise connects with the fundamental aspects of the human experience in ways that transcend the immediate headlines. It taps directly into our primal need for security and certainty, a bedrock desire upon which our sense of well-being is built. When the ground beneath us seems to shift, when the narratives we are fed feel inconsistent or worse, manipulative, it triggers a deep-seated anxiety that vibrates through our collective consciousness. We are creatures that crave order, we seek explanations, and we possess an inherent, almost instinctual distrust of obfuscation. The idea of drills, playing out on a global stage, evokes a powerful sense of powerlessness, a feeling of being a pawn in a game whose rules we don't fully comprehend and whose players remain shrouded in shadow. It challenges our very sense of autonomy, our cherished belief that we are active participants in our own destinies, rather than mere reactive elements within a pre-designed system. The human spirit, in its purest form, yearns for authenticity, for genuine connection, for a reality that is unvarnished and true. When that authenticity is called into question, when the very foundations of our shared understanding appear built on sand, it creates a profound and unsettling unease, compelling us to look closer, to question more deeply. This exploration speaks to our universal struggle with uncertainty, our insatiable curiosity, and our sometimes fragile grasp on what constitutes objective truth in an increasingly complex, information-saturated world. It underscores our shared human condition, where the quest for understanding is often intertwined with the profound discomfort of not knowing. The emotional resonance of this topic is a complex symphony of feelings, ranging from unease and suspicion to frustration, and perhaps a flicker of defiant curiosity. Initially, there might be a shock, a disbelief, a natural human resistance to the idea that deeply impactful events could be anything less than entirely organic, unforeseen calamities. But this often gives way to a creeping suspicion, a subtle shift in perspective that prompts a re-evaluation of past experiences through a new, more critical lens. For many, this journey leads to a profound sense of frustration, even betrayal, at the thought of being misled or, worse, manipulated. There can be a simmering anger directed at those perceived as the gatekeepers or orchestrators of these potential drills, individuals or entities who wield such immense influence over our lives. Yet beneath these more overt emotions, there lies a deeper current of anxiety, the fear of the unknown, the gnawing worry about what else we might not be seeing, and the unsettling question of who truly holds the reins of power. But even within this emotional landscape, a powerful spark of intrigue ignites, a compelling desire to pull back the curtain, to understand the why behind the what, a testament to our enduring human drive for knowledge and clarity, an unyielding refusal to simply accept things at face value. This intricate dance of emotions is a testament to the profound impact that perceived control and hidden information can have on the human psyche. Indeed, the experiences and challenges that connect us all, regardless of our individual journeys, are profoundly illuminated by this topic. We have all, at some point, felt that unsettling sensation of not getting the full story, whether it emanates from a government pronouncement, a news report, or even within the intimate dynamics of our own personal relationships. That gut feeling of something being off, of a narrative not quite adding up, is a universally relatable human experience. We have collectively navigated moments of profound anxiety, from widespread economic downturns to global public health crises, and the echoes of those times, the lingering questions and uncertainties can be easily reawakened. The challenge of discerning truth from fiction in an age of overwhelming information is not an abstract philosophical exercise. It is a daily, practical dilemma that confronts each of us as we consume news, engage on social media, and strive to form coherent opinions. The feeling of being left out of the loop, of not being privy to essential information, is a common human frustration, whether it manifests in a workplace, a social circle, or on the grand scale of global events. This exploration taps into that universal yearning for transparency and inclusion, and our inherent aversion to being controlled or manipulated. It speaks to our shared vulnerability in the face of the unknown, and our collective struggle to find stable ground in a world that often feels designed to keep us off balance. From this deep reflection emerges a core message, an insight I hope every listener carries away with them. It is not one of definitive answers, for truth is often a multifaceted gem, but rather one of empowered questioning and critical engagement. The essence is this: cultivate your discernment. Do not blindly accept narratives, especially those that evoke strong emotional responses or seem designed to provoke a particular reaction. Instead, seek information from diverse sources, actively question underlying motivations, and learn to trust your intuition when something feels fundamentally misaligned. It is about recognizing that while we may never have access to every piece of the puzzle, we possess the inherent capacity to think critically, to connect seemingly disparate dots, and to demand greater transparency and accountability from those in positions of power. Our collective reality is not simply handed to us. It is often constructed, and our role as informed citizens is to actively participate in its deconstruction, and where necessary, its reconstruction, relentlessly seeking clarity and truth wherever it may be found. This empowerment is not about possessing all the answers, but about cultivating the intellectual courage and the moral will to keep asking the right questions, to keep peeling back the layers until a clearer picture emerges. Firstly, and perhaps most crucially, cultivate a robust practice of media literacy. Move beyond simply consuming information. Actively analyze it. Consider the source, scrutinize for potential biases, and make it a habit to cross-reference information from multiple reputable outlets, especially those with differing perspectives. Secondly, engage in thoughtful, respectful dialogue. Discuss these complex ideas with trusted friends and family, not with the aim of convincing or converting, but to explore different perspectives, to collectively unpack the nuances, and to sharpen your own understanding through the exchange of ideas. Thirdly, consider supporting independent journalism and the brave individuals who act as whistleblowers. In a world where narratives can be tightly controlled, those who courageously step forward to shed light on hidden truths are invaluable beacons. Seek out and support platforms and individuals who prioritize investigative reporting and unwavering transparency. Finally, and this is a profoundly empowering step, focus on what you can control. While the larger forces at play may seem overwhelming, concentrate your energy on building resilience in your own life, fostering strong community connections, and advocating for transparency and accountability within your immediate sphere of influence. Your individual actions, however seemingly small, contribute to a larger, cumulative shift towards a more informed, more empowered, and ultimately more authentic society. Now let us turn our gaze to the unsettling whispers that have permeated our collective consciousness, the insidious idea that certain significant events might be less about unforeseen crises and more about meticulously planned drills. Imagine for a moment a scenario where the head of the CDC, an institution we typically associate with rigorous public health and scientific integrity, were to hold the key to a secret, revealing that these events were in fact mere drills all along. A chilling thought, isn't it? The unsettling revelation that we might be pawns in a larger game, orchestrated by those who hold the strings, immediately raises eyebrows and fuels a profound skepticism. This isn't just about a fleeting thought. It strikes at the very heart of our trust in institutions, a trust that forms the bedrock of a stable and functioning society. When that trust erodes, when the very foundations of our collective understanding begin to crumble, it leaves us adrift in a sea of uncertainty, vulnerable to every passing current of speculation. The human mind craves order. It seeks patterns, and when those patterns seem to be deliberately obscured or manipulated, it triggers a profound sense of cognitive dissonance. We are left grappling with the unsettling possibility that the fear we felt, the sacrifices we made, the profound changes we endured might have been part of an elaborate simulation designed to test our compliance, our resilience, or perhaps even our susceptibility to manipulation. This is not to suggest that all crises are fabricated. Rather, it is to acknowledge the profound impact of even the suggestion that they might be, and to explore the implications of such a possibility on our individual and collective psyche, forcing us to examine the nature of power itself. The notion of drills taking center stage is not, however, a phenomenon exclusive to our current moment. Indeed, historical echoes resonate, revealing that as far back as 2012, the idea of what we perceive as reality, potentially being carefully orchestrated, was already being explored and discussed in certain circles. This historical context is vital because it demonstrates that these concerns aren't born out of a vacuum of contemporary anxiety. They are part of a long-standing, often submerged conversation about power, control, and the elusive nature of truth. The tapestry of human experience is replete with instances where official narratives have been challenged, where hidden agendas have eventually come to light, and where the public has been left to grapple with the unsettling realization that they were not privy to the full picture. This historical echo chamber amplifies the current whispers, giving them a weight and a resonance that demands our attention, urging us to look beyond the immediate surface. It forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that history in many ways repeats itself, and that the mechanisms of control, while evolving in their sophistication, often retain a core commonality across different eras. The enduring question then becomes, are we as a society destined to repeat these cycles of suspicion and disillusionment, or can we, through conscious effort and informed action, evolve to demand greater transparency and accountability from those who shape our world? Against this backdrop, a compelling narrative has recently emerged, that of a whistleblower, embarking on a podcast tour to expose what he describes as a clandestine club operating beyond the awareness of most. The striking reality, as he details, is that the vast majority of us, including those of us behind this very microphone, are simply not part of this elusive inner circle. As he delves into the intricate details of its purported operations, listeners are left with a gnawing sense of unease, questioning the identity and motives of the gatekeepers who control the narrative, wondering if they are, perhaps, unwittingly entangled in a complex web of secrecy. This narrative of the whistleblower is a powerful, almost mythical, archetype in the human story. It speaks to our inherent belief in justice, in the triumph of truth over deception, and in the courage of individuals to stand against overwhelming odds. The whistleblower, often at immense personal risk, embodies the defiant spirit to challenge established power structures, to pull back the curtain on what is hidden, to illuminate the shadows. Their emergence ignites a spark of hope, a tantalizing possibility that the truth, however uncomfortable, might finally come to light. But it also starkly highlights the profound sense of exclusion that many feel, the dawning realization that there are indeed clubs or inner circles that operate with a level of knowledge and influence far beyond the reach of the average citizen. This feeling of being on the outside looking in, of being denied access to crucial information, is a universally frustrating human experience, a sense of being disempowered. It feeds directly into the narrative of gatekeepers, those who possess the power to decide what information is released, what narratives are promoted, and what truths remain conveniently hidden from public view. A central, resonant theme emerges from this narrative, the defiance against being part of this elusive club. There's an undeniable truth that the more one rejects the idea of being a mere pawn, of being moved on a chessboard by unseen players, the more it seems to irk those who hold the reins, the gatekeepers. But what precisely constitutes this club, and who are these gatekeepers who wield such pervasive influence over our lives? These questions do not merely linger in the air. They echo, challenging us to look beyond the surface narratives and delve into the deeper currents of power and control. This defiance is a deeply human response, an assertion of individual sovereignty in the face of perceived manipulation. It is the yearning for autonomy, the steadfast refusal to be treated as a mere object in someone else's grand design. This defiance is not about blind rebellion. It is about a conscious choice to assert one's intellectual and emotional independence, a profound desire to understand, to participate meaningfully, and to refuse to be a passive recipient of predetermined outcomes. The club, in this context, isn't necessarily a literal secret society meeting in shadowy backrooms. It can represent any nexus of power, influence, and information that operates with a degree of exclusivity. It could be political elites, economic power brokers, or even certain academic or scientific institutions that, by virtue of their specialized knowledge or privileged positions, hold significant sway over public discourse and policy. The gatekeepers, then, are those who control access to information, who shape public opinion, and who ultimately influence our collective reality. They are the editors, the publishers, the algorithms that curate our digital experience, the policymakers, and sometimes even the very frameworks of thought and belief that subtly limit our perception of what is possible or true. The more we push back against these limitations, the more we demand transparency, the more uncomfortable it can make those who benefit from the existing status quo. This dynamic speaks the universal, perennial struggle between individual freedom and systemic control, a tension that has played out in countless forms throughout the entirety of human history. For those whose curiosity has been piqued, for those who seek to decipher these cryptic messages, the Whistleblowers podcast tour offers a compelling invitation, a rabbit hole worth exploring. It promises a journey into the unknown, a winding path where truth and fiction often intertwine, leaving us to question the very fabric of our reality and the unseen forces that shape it. Are you ready to step behind closed doors, metaphorically speaking, and unravel the mysteries that lie within? This invitation to explore, to delve deeper, is not an endorsement of any specific theory or a call to blind belief. Rather, it is a profound encouragement to embrace intellectual curiosity and to question the readily available narratives with a discerning mind. It is about empowering the listener to become an active participant in their own search for understanding, rather than a passive recipient of pre-packaged information. The phrase rabbit hole perfectly encapsulates the feeling of embarking on such a journey. It's a descent into layers of information, often leading to more questions than immediate answers, but always with the promise of deeper insight and a more nuanced perspective. The intertwining of truth and fiction is a crucial element here, for in an age of increasingly sophisticated disinformation and cleverly constructed narratives, distinguishing between the two becomes an ever more challenging yet vital endeavor. This is not about promoting cynicism, but about fostering a discerning eye and a critical mind that can navigate the complexities of information in the digital age. It is about recognizing that reality itself can be a subjective construct, shaped not only by objective facts, but also by the perspectives, intentions, and power dynamics of those who present it to us. The mysteries that lie within are not just external secrets waiting to be unearthed. They are also the mysteries within ourselves, our own biases, our own assumptions, and our own capacities for critical thought and independent judgment. The profound impact of this topic extends deeply into individual well-being. Living in a state of constant suspicion, feeling perpetually manipulated, can be an emotionally exhausting and profoundly disempowering experience. If we internalize the belief that major events are simply drills, that our lived experiences are part of a larger, controlled script, it can erode our sense of purpose and agency. Why strive? Why care? Why invest in a future if it's all part of a predetermined play? This can lead to a form of existential dread, a pervasive feeling that our efforts are ultimately meaningless in the face of such overwhelming unseen forces. It can also foster isolation, as those who dare to question the mainstream narrative may find themselves marginalized, dismissed, or even ridiculed. Conversely, for others, the very act of questioning, of seeking deeper, more authentic truths can be profoundly empowering, a way to reclaim agency and intellectual autonomy in a world that often seeks to simplify and control. It can serve as a powerful catalyst for critical thinking and a deeper, more engaged relationship with the world around us. The challenge, then, lies in finding a delicate balance, cultivating a healthy skepticism without succumbing to debilitating paranoia, fostering informed engagement without descending into overwhelming despair. On a relational level, the impact is equally intricate and often fraught with tension. Disagreements over these fundamental narratives, over what constitutes truth and reality, can severely strain personal connections, leading to arguments, divisions, and even irreparable rifts within families and friendships. The very act of questioning can be perceived as a direct attack on someone else's deeply held worldview, triggering defensiveness, hostility, and a breakdown of empathetic communication. Yet, conversely, for those who share a similar investigative spirit, who are willing to delve into uncomfortable questions together, these conversations can forge deeper, more authentic bonds, creating communities of like-minded individuals who support each other in their shared quest for understanding. It highlights the fundamental human need for a shared reality and the profound difficulty that arises when those realities diverge significantly, challenging the very fabric of our social cohesion. Societally, the implications are vast and potentially transformative. A widespread belief that major events are drills or that powerful clubs operate in secret can profoundly undermine trust in foundational institutions, governments, media, scientific bodies, leading to civil unrest, political instability, and a dangerous breakdown of social cohesion. If people lose faith in their leaders, in the information they receive, and in the very scientific establishments meant to guide them, the intricate fabric of society begins to fray, leaving it vulnerable. It can create a fertile ground for misinformation and demagoguery as alternative narratives, however unfounded, gain dangerous traction in the absence of credible, trusted sources. Conversely, a society that actively encourages open inquiry, critical thinking, and unwavering transparency, even when the truths revealed are uncomfortable, is a demonstrably stronger, more resilient, and ultimately more just society. It fosters a citizenry capable of discerning truth from manipulation, holding power accountable, and collectively navigating complex challenges with wisdom and foresight. The inherent risk lies in the potential for mass disillusionment, a retreat into cynical apathy that paralyzes collective action, or a dangerous descent into chaotic fragmentation where no shared truth can exist. Now, let us bring into focus the universal feelings, experiences, and struggles that transcend all differences, uniting us in our shared humanity. The fundamental feeling of being vulnerable in the face of overwhelming, often unseen forces is a universal human experience. Whether it is a natural disaster, a global pandemic, or the unsettling notion of orchestrated events designed to influence us, we all experience moments where we feel small, exposed, and fundamentally powerless. The struggle to make sense of a chaotic world, to find meaning and impose order amidst profound uncertainty, is a shared human endeavor, a quest as old as consciousness itself. We all yearn for clarity, for answers that resonate with our inner truth, and for a narrative that lends coherence to our lived experiences. The desire to protect ourselves and our loved ones, to ensure their safety and well-being in an unpredictable world, is a primal instinct that transcends culture, background, and belief system. We all grapple with the perennial challenge of trust, whom to believe, what to accept as true, and how to navigate a world where information can be weaponized as easily as it can illuminate. And perhaps most profoundly, the universal human aspiration for truth and freedom, the innate drive to live authentically, to understand the genuine reality we inhabit, and to participate meaningfully in its shaping, binds us all together in a profound, undeniable way. Our purpose here is not to preach or to dictate a singular truth, but rather to open a spacious intellectual and emotional landscape for thoughtful inquiry and personal reflection. This means grounding the abstract concepts of drills, clubs, and gatekeepers in relatable human experiences, the unsettling feeling of being misled, the universal struggle to discern truth in a sea of information, the deep-seated desire for personal and collective agency, and the profound, often unexpected, impact of large-scale events on individual lives. By consistently focusing on these universal human experiences, we can effectively bridge divides, transcend ideological differences, and invite a broader, more diverse audience into this crucial and deeply personal conversation about the nature of our shared reality. To truly tap into the rich tapestry of human emotions, we must do more than just present facts. We must tell stories. We must share experiences, whether they are personal anecdotes that resonate with authenticity, compelling historical examples that illuminate patterns of the past, or even carefully constructed fictional scenarios that evoke a powerful sense of possibility. These narratives serve to illustrate the topic's profound relevance to human life, making the abstract tangible. Imagine, for instance, the visceral feeling of watching a news report about a rapidly unfolding global crisis, the fear clutching at your stomach, the uncertainty clouding your mind, the desperate hope for reliable information. Now, imagine a subtle whisper, a fleeting, almost imperceptible thought, that this might not be entirely what it seems, that there could be a hidden script or an underlying agenda. How does that single thought, that flicker of doubt, shift your entire emotional landscape? Does it transform fear into a simmering anger, or uncertainty into a burning, almost desperate desire for truth? Consider the historical narratives of whistleblowers throughout time, individuals who, with immense courage, risked everything: their careers, their reputations, their very freedom to expose what they believed to be hidden truths. Think of the immense psychological and emotional toll it takes to stand against powerful, entrenched forces, the profound isolation they often face, and the transformative, often disruptive, impact their revelations can have on society. These stories are not merely intellectual exercises. They are profound emotional journeys that resonate deeply with our innate sense of justice, fairness, and our collective yearning for transparency. Our path forward must involve identifying common ground, highlighting the shared experiences, challenges, and aspirations that connect us all. This approach fosters empathy and understanding, serving as a powerful antidote to the division that often characterizes discussions of complex or controversial topics. The common ground here is our shared humanity itself, our collective vulnerability in the face of global events, our universal desire for security and well-being, and our profound yearning for a world that is transparent, just, and safe for all. We all, instinctively, want to believe that those in positions of power, whether governmental, corporate, or scientific, ultimately have our best interests at heart. We all want to feel secure in our knowledge of the world, confident that the information we receive is accurate and unbiased. We all struggle with the inherent complexities of modern life and the overwhelming deluge of information we encounter daily, trying to sift through the noise to find clarity. By consistently focusing on these shared struggles, these universal human conditions, we can effectively build a bridge of understanding, inviting listeners to explore these challenging and often uncomfortable ideas from a place of shared experience and mutual respect, rather than from a position of ideological opposition or preconceived judgment. To truly understand the multifaceted nature of the enigma of drills, clubs, and gatekeepers, we must unpack the why behind the what. We must explore the underlying motivations, the intricate behaviors, and the complex social dynamics that fuel such phenomena. Why, for instance, would such elaborate drills be conducted on a global scale? The motivations are likely as varied and complex as human nature itself. Perhaps they are conducted for genuine preparedness, to rigorously test societal resilience in the face of extreme events, or to gauge public reaction and compliance under duress. Perhaps they are designed for control, to subtly establish new societal norms, to shift collective consciousness, or to consolidate power in the hands of a select few. Perhaps, too, there are profound economic motivations at play, to create new markets, to stimulate specific industries, or to strategically reallocate vast resources. The motivations are rarely singular. They are often a complex interplay of altruistic intentions, strategic objectives, and deeply ingrained self-serving agendas. Understanding these potential motivations helps us to move beyond simplistic conspiracy theories and delve into a more nuanced, sophisticated analysis of human behavior, institutional structures, and global power dynamics. The club, whether literal or metaphorical, might exist to maintain a certain status quo, to protect entrenched vested interests, or to ensure a particular trajectory for human society that aligns with its members' vision. The gatekeepers, those who control the flow of information and influence, might be driven by a genuine belief that they possess superior knowledge and that the general public cannot handle the full, unvarnished truth, or simply by the desire to maintain their own influence, authority, and privileged position. These are not easy answers, but by diligently exploring the why, we can gain a far deeper and more comprehensive understanding of the intricate forces at play in our world. The pervasive impact of this topic on individual well-being, on the delicate fabric of our relationships, and on the broader structure of society is profound and warrants careful consideration. The constant questioning, the gnawing feeling of not knowing what to believe, can be emotionally exhausting, leading to heightened anxiety, a pervasive sense of distrust, and even a debilitating feeling of powerlessness. If we internalize the belief that major events are merely drills, that our lived experiences are part of a larger, controlled script, it can subtly erode our sense of purpose and agency. Why strive? Why care? Why invest in a future that feels predetermined? This insidious erosion can lead to a form of existential dread, a pervasive feeling that our individual efforts are ultimately meaningless in the face of such overwhelming, unseen forces. It can also foster profound isolation, as those who dare to question the mainstream narrative may find themselves marginalized, dismissed, or even ostracized by their communities. Conversely, for others, the very act of questioning, of seeking deeper, more authentic truths, can be profoundly empowering, a potent way to reclaim agency and intellectual autonomy in a world that often seeks to simplify and control. It can serve as a powerful catalyst for critical thinking, fostering a more engaged and meaningful relationship with the world around us. The challenge, then, lies in navigating this complex terrain with wisdom, cultivating a healthy, discerning skepticism without succumbing to debilitating paranoia, fostering informed engagement without descending into overwhelming despair. On a relational level, the impact is equally intricate and often fraught with tension. Deep disagreements over these fundamental narratives, over what constitutes truth and reality, can severely strain personal connections, leading to arguments, divisions, and even irreparable rifts within families, friendships, and communities. The very act of questioning established narratives can be perceived as a direct attack on someone else's deeply held worldview, triggering defensiveness, hostility, and a breakdown of empathetic communication. Yet conversely, for those who share a similar investigative spirit, who are willing to delve into uncomfortable questions together, these shared inquiries can forge deeper, more authentic bonds, creating communities of like-minded individuals who support each other in their shared quest for understanding. This dynamic highlights the fundamental human need for a shared reality and the profound difficulty that arises when those realities diverge significantly, challenging the very fabric of our social cohesion and our ability to connect meaningfully with one another. Societally, the implications are vast and potentially transformative. A widespread belief that major events are drills, or that powerful clubs operate in secret to control outcomes, can profoundly undermine trust in foundational institutions. Governments, media, scientific bodies, leading to civil unrest, political instability, and a dangerous breakdown of social cohesion. If people lose faith in their leaders, in the information they receive, and in the very scientific establishments meant to guide them, the intricate fabric of society begins to fray, leaving it vulnerable to manipulation and fragmentation. It can create a fertile ground for misinformation and demagoguery, as alternative narratives, however unfounded, gain dangerous traction in the absence of credible, trusted sources. Conversely, a society that actively encourages open inquiry, critical thinking, and unwavering transparency, even when the truths revealed are uncomfortable, is a demonstrably stronger, more resilient, and ultimately more just society. It fosters a citizenry capable of discerning truth from manipulation, holding power accountable, and collectively navigating complex challenges with wisdom and foresight. The inherent risk lies in the potential for mass disillusionment, a retreat into cynical apathy that paralyzes collective action, or a dangerous descent into chaotic fragmentation where no shared truth or common ground can exist. Finally, to leave a lasting impression, to truly resonate with the listener, we must create a sense of intrigue, hinting at deeper layers, unresolved questions, and the promise of future explorations. This journey into the enigma of drills, clubs, and gatekeepers is not a destination, but a continuous process of inquiry, a perpetual peeling back of layers. There are always more questions to ask, more perspectives to consider, and more profound insights to uncover. We are not offering definitive answers, for the nature of truth is often elusive and complex, but rather inviting you to join us on an ongoing, collaborative exploration. I urge you to think about your own lives, your own experiences, and your unique perspectives related to this topic. Have you ever felt that something wasn't quite right? That a narrative seemed incomplete or deliberately obscured? What did you do with that unsettling feeling? How do you currently discern truth in a world saturated with information, where every click brings a new claim? What role do you believe gatekeepers play in shaping our collective reality? And how might we, as individuals and as a collective, engage with that role more consciously? These are not rhetorical questions. They are profound invitations for personal introspection, critical engagement, and a deeper connection to the unfolding story of our world. Beyond the critical inquiry, beyond the intellectual exploration, there are tangible, actionable takeaways, tips, and suggestions that each listener can apply to their own lives, making this reflection truly useful. We can cultivate a diversified information diet, actively seeking news and analysis from a wide range of sources, especially those that challenge our existing beliefs and broaden our understanding. We can diligently develop our media literacy skills, learning to identify logical fallacies, recognize rhetorical devices designed to sway opinion, and pinpoint potential biases in the information we consume. We can commit to engaging in respectful dialogue with those who hold different views, seeking genuinely to understand their perspectives rather than simply to convert them to our own. We can actively support investigative journalism and empower independent voices who are committed to uncovering truth, even when it is inconvenient or unpopular. And perhaps most importantly, in a world where external narratives can feel overwhelming, we can nurture our own inner compass, trusting our intuition while simultaneously subjecting it to rigorous critical scrutiny and ongoing learning. In a world where reality itself can feel profoundly malleable, where the lines between fact and fabrication blur, the most powerful action we can take is to empower ourselves with knowledge, with discernment, and with an unwavering commitment to the pursuit of truth. This exploration of the enigma of drills, clubs, and gatekeepers is not at its heart about fear-mongering or promoting specific predetermined theories. It is rather an honest, unfiltered reflection on the fundamental human yearning for truth, the profound anxieties that inevitably arise when that truth feels obscured, and the enduring transformative power of human agency in seeking clarity amidst the complexity. It is about empowering each of us to become more discerning navigators of our collective reality, to question with courage, to explore with an open mind, and to ultimately contribute in our own unique ways to a more transparent, a more just, and a more authentic world. The journey into the unknown can indeed be unsettling, a venture into uncomfortable truths, but it is also profoundly liberating. It is a testament to the human spirit's relentless pursuit of understanding, a pursuit that, when embraced with integrity and compassion, can illuminate the path forward even in the deepest, most perplexing shadows. If you've enjoyed this episode, please visit our website at deszicakes.com. Thanks for joining me on Unfiltered Reflection. Until next time, be kind to yourself, keep exploring, and remember, you are worthy, you are seen, and you are loved.